All right, well, so I'll start with Derek. I mean, we obviously know what this program was a response to, but if you could just walk me through, how did you, what strings had to be pulled to make this program happen? I mean, how did you find the collaborators? How did it all come about?
Well, we were very lucky because one of our board members, Augusta Gross, and her husband Leslie Samuels, uh, they just came to us one day and said, "Hey, we want to make something happen here." This was in the this is in the first week that the pandemic struck, and they said, "Can you make something happen?" And so Ed Yim, the president of ACO, and we just got on the phone and we sat there talking through all the different things that we thought we might be able to do. And what we decided was that we really wanted to connect people during this time because we already within a week we felt this lack of connection with people. And we also thought that we wanted to look toward the future to create work that would be there afterwards. So we knew that this would be over at some point, and we wanted to make something that would last because already people were throwing up all kinds of videos that were just kind of seemed to be just for the moment, like let's do something, which we all did it right away, let's get something done. But we thought, well, let's try to do something that would have a lasting effect. And so then we got this extra grant later on from the NYC COVID-19 Response and Impact Fund, and that let us expand it further. So the idea was, let's pair a great performer with a great composer, and let's go talk to performers that we know that with whom we have a connection, as we do with Anthony, and let's give them a list of a number of composers, freelancers, who are out there kind of pounding the pavement. And the same with the everyone was just in this new world. And we said, let's ask these performers to choose a composer that they really respond to and to try to make a work together. And then with this money that we had, we'll pay the performers and we'll pay the composers, and we'll hopefully produce some work that will last. And I think the piece that you're going to hear that has been this collaboration between Anthony and Carlos and the Brooklyn Youth Chorus will really last.
Mm-hmm. So Carlos, you were approached by the ACO for this project?
That's correct. Yeah. Derek and EDM, they sent me an email and asked if I would be interested. And of course, it was a no-brainer for me because I worked with in the American Composers Orchestra. In previous years, I was the winner of the Underwood reading for the orchestra, and that was a joy to work with them then. And so I've always admired their mission and what they represent to composers in this country. And yeah, it was definitely a no-brainer. Of course, to get a chance to work with Anthony it's all a dream of mine because I saw him at the Met at Mountain with Philip Glass, the live stream, and I was like, wow, I want to work with him. And so it was just like the universe sort of conspired in a way for this opportunity.
So Anthony, how did the collaboration take place? I mean, was Carlos sending you music as he was writing it, or how was it working out?
Well, it was fantastic. I mean, when Ed and Derek approached me about doing this, they said, is there a composer you want to work with? And Carlos's name had come up, and I didn't know his work so well, so I was listening, and I was so struck by the breadth of compositional styles that he's able to synthesize in such a sophisticated way. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do a piece with Carlos. And so when we spoke, we went back and forth about different ideas. And one idea I had was actually based on an old folk song. I think it was a Russian folk song, in which the singer is not singing a cappella, which I find, especially in these acoustically challenging rooms that we're in with bad mics, to be not the best way forward. But rather, he was accompanied by a chorus of voices, sort of creating a soundscape underneath him. And so I wondered whether that was an idea that Carlos was interested in. And when he was, I suggested that maybe we could ask the Brooklyn Youth Chorus to be the chorus of voices. And it felt really hopeful in a way to me, because the youth is our future, and in particular these young singers who are so rigorous in the way that they approach what they do. So I was thrilled that Brooklyn Youth Chorus was able to come on and join us. And then Carlos is so generous, and listening to what we talked about range, we talked about text, and he made it really collaborative for me, which I'm always grateful for, because I feel like, the art gets better with collaboration from both of our sides. And then he made a piece that is beyond what we could have hoped for.